How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to an episode in live stream of Let's Build Twitter. As always, I'm Ethan, or Unknown Coder. Last time around, we worked on a little bit of Java code where we can make it so we could actually search here inside of our application. And now today we need to actually get the search bar up and running so that whenever we type in this, it actually searches. We also need kind of like a little drop down and a couple other things. And I think whenever we search, a circle pops up with an X in it. So there's some stuff we need to work on and can work on. So that's what we're going to do today. And then also whenever you search, so I'm searching on the side right now, a list of people pop up, and then you can also click on them. And if you actually hit enter, it goes into a actual like search page where it has a few different items and stuff like that. So I don't think we're going to get to the search page today. I'm pretty beat today from work, so I don't know how long we're going to stream. But we're going to go ahead and try to get like the drop down working and actually searching for results and all that stuff. I'm going to try to keep it encapsulated. So if I do make a Redux slice, it's going to be encapsulated into this little area. It's not going to expand out anywhere because the search stuff isn't really that important. I shouldn't say it's that important. It doesn't need to reach out very far. And again, the reason why we're doing this search is so that we can actually be able to follow people. When we can follow people, we can start showing posts in here. And that's kind of what my actual goal is to get posts going in there. And I don't actually think that this top bar is working the way it's supposed to. So once we start getting some more posts in there and stuff, we can actually scroll. We'll see if it's actually working, but I don't think it is because this is moving quite a bit. But anyway, so with that being out of the way, whenever we type in here, we need a little drop down, and two, we need an X that goes in the corner that has information in it. Whenever you click off, it stays. So let's go ahead and come back into our code, and we go into our discovery search bar, and on active, that's fine. So we need to add one more thing. So right now we have the search bar icon wrapper, and we need a thing that can basically be clicked on. We also need to figure out how we're going to have the recent, but basically what I'm going to go and do, so we'll go ahead and make another div with the class name, and this will be equal to discovery, and let's go ahead and say search bar, and this is going to be clear. This is going to be like a button that clears. On click, we need to basically clear out the input. So we can get the input ref, but let's just go ahead and make a function called clear input maybe. And we need to make this function. So let's just go ahead and make that function really quick as well. So const clear input is equal to this. And I guess we can just go ahead and do this. So basically we just need to make sure that the input, although you know what, we don't want input ref on this. Or is the input ref for something else? Why do we have an input ref? So input ref, oh, it's for the focus. So we're gonna want an on change on this. So we might as well go ahead and store this data in here. So let's go ahead and make that change. The on change will set up a dispatcher and stuff. Let's go ahead and say const, and then search, I don't want to call it search term, search content maybe, and set search content is equal to use state of a string, and this will be empty. And what we'll go and do is inside of our input, we'll set the value equal to this. So value is equal to this search content. Again, we didn't need to do it this way. We could have used the ref, but I'm gonna make it a little bit easier on myself. And let's go ahead and close this div really quick. So now whenever we clear input, we're just gonna go ahead and say set search content. Whoops. I could type search content to be an empty string, like so. So now when we click on it, it'll be an empty string. And then we also need like a close icon, I guess. So let me go and look in Material UI. So Material UI icons, whoops. Let me grab a close icon. So again, it's not exactly what Twitter uses. but I don't really care if, as long as it's close enough, I'm fine with it. So let's grab close. I'm gonna go ahead and copy it. Let's go ahead and put close under there. So now we got our close icon, and this will be close icon, and we're gonna have to set this to white. So SX is equal to color will just be, it's just white, I believe. Although I don't 100% know because I'm in dark mode, so maybe it's not white, but it is what it is. Now the thing that we need to keep in mind is that this will only be active if we have a content, I guess. Whoops. So this will only be active if there's content. So let's actually go ahead and do this. So we'll say search content, and this div, it's kind of ugly, but we can also do one of these, make it look a little bit nicer, I guess. But basically, if there's search content in there, we will go ahead and set this and show this, otherwise we won't. So if we come back in here, we're not going to see much, but if we type, whoops, oh, we're never setting the content. So let's go ahead and handle change. We're going to go ahead and say set search content, and we are going to go ahead and say e.target.value. So we'll go ahead and set the value there so that way it's at least doing something. And normally I don't do it that way, but I'm doing it this way because we need to search as we type. So now you can see we have the X. It's a little bit big and we need to do some refining. And maybe we do want to be black, but Twitter, whenever you, I guess Twitter's is black. So maybe we do just want it black. And black is default, so we'll just have to set the font size, I guess. So maybe we won't do this, but if we actually click on this, let's see if we click on it, it does something. So if we click on it, clears the content like what's supposed to, and everything looked good. So that's good, and it only shows up when we have content, so we're halfway there. So let me just take a peek at how big this is so I can kind of have an idea. So our box is about 22 by 22. That's an interesting size. And our little guy is like 10 by 10. So maybe we do a font size on this since we don't actually need the other one. Maybe font size is like 12px. And we go ahead and grab this discovery search bar clear. We can hop into here. And we'll just put it on this search bar icon wrapper. And search bar clear, we're going to have a width of 22px, a height of 22px, and this might just work. It might put it where we want it. We'll see. We might need to change the size of the actual search bar wherever the input, because right now the width's 90%, so we might need to make the width like 80% or something to squeeze it in there, because right now we decided to display flex and flex start. So we'll just see how that goes. But obviously we want a border radius of 100%, and we want a background color of our blue. So I'm just gonna grab this. And then what else do we need? So I think that's everything. We also need display flex, a flex direction, doesn't matter. So let's just justify content in the center and align items in the center. And we might need to make some changes to we might need to wrap this also in an icon. We'll see, because sometimes it's a little bit weird. It doesn't center properly, so we'll see if it wants to center. So if we type, so we say like Rick, that's really small, so we want it a little bit bigger. And we also, let's see if there's a highlight effect. There is a small highlight effect. It gets a little bit darker. Let's make the font size maybe like 14px, just to make it a little bit bigger. And heck, it might even be able to be like 16px. But I kind of like the way that it looks. I think that looks pretty good. We need a cursor pointer on this guy, and it also has a little bit of a color change. So if we come in here, let's go ahead and set up, we can do the cursor pointer right there, and then we'll do dot discovery dash search dash bar clear, and hover. And basically we'll do a background color. Let me convert this to RGB, and then we'll just basically, actually let's do a shade generator. So I'm gonna say color, shade generator, and we'll make it just a slightly darker shade instead of doing the whatever it's called. So we'll do, here's this one, so we'll do 10% darker. That's probably plenty. So background color on hover will be this color instead, and let me do a pound sign there, and let's see if you can see it. If we need to go a little bit darker, we can. So you can see, I don't know, that might look better white in dark mode. I want to see what it looks like white really quick, so I am going to go ahead and put color as white. And maybe Twitter doesn't have it white, but I might be taking some liberty here, and maybe black is the move, and this is slightly too big, so I am going to go black, and I'm going to go ahead and say width is 16px. I'm going to force the width and height, and I think this might fix it being a little bit weird and not quite centered, because I think it is a little bit off. So cool, I think it looks good. So right now whenever you see Rick, it should be popping up a little, like, I don't even know what to call this, like a hover effect. In Twitter's hover effect is, or little pop-up is actually kind of broken, so that's interesting. But whenever we start typing in there, it should basically make a GET request more or less each time we type. Now I don't want to deal with the GET request right at this moment. That looks really dark. Let me double check something. This color, background color, seems dark for some reason. I wonder if Twitter uses a lighter color, because, well, I guess it is what it is. I'm not that concerned about it. So what do we want to do? So we need a little pop-up guy, and I'm trying to debate on where I want to pop up at, right? Because I could either have it here on the search bar, or I could put it wherever we have, I think it's inside the landing page or the home page, probably home page. So here we have like discover, right? So we can either put it, maybe we do want it inside discover. So if we go into discover.tsx, wherever discovery search bar. Now the issue is that we don't have access to the content of the discovery search bar in here. But what we could probably do is we could probably connect it to this discovery search bar and have it have like an index, a Z index. So maybe we try that. So inside of discovery, let's make a new folder and let's call this discovery search dropdown, maybe, because that's what it is. Make a new file, call it discovery, search dropdown.tsx. We're going to make a new file, and this will be discovery search dropdown.css. So I'm not 100% sure how this one works. So it's giving me suggestions at the top, right? And honestly, I might just take the easy way out because I don't really have a way to generate suggestions. So basically it has a top piece and then it has some more or less like the people that it's looking at, and then has like their profile picture, their name, whether or not they're verified. It has a couple other things. So maybe what we do, and it also has like go to like at whatever. So maybe we make this a length equal to fit content, and then the width is going to be set no matter what. So it looks like the width is about the same length as the search bar, about 52 pixels. So that's going to be the same width no matter what we do. And then the width will have like a height for the top bar, and then we'll also have to make individual like search sections or something with the individual height, and then maybe with 100%. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go and import, import React from React. And let's also go ahead and import our / discovery. I can't spell discovery search drop down. Okay, and make sure we grab the .css on the end of that. Hopefully I spelled that right. Discovery search drop down. Let's export const React. Whoops, I cannot think or type tonight, I guess. Search drop down, say react.fc. And what we'll do is, I don't know, I guess we'll just send a list or pass a list of objects basically. We could pass back users. I think that's what we're passing through the API. So if we come back to the API, search for users returns a set of application users. I don't know what we're gonna do if there's not enough users, but it is what it is. So what we'll do, we should have users in here. So this will be, we'll basically say interface, and then discovery search drop down props is, and this is going to have a list of users. So users will be a user array, and we'll just pass it like 8 users or however many users we have. And then let's go ahead and pass in this. So discovery search drop down props equal to, and we'll go ahead and break apart those users and then do this. Cool. Let's go ahead and return a div. So we have our div with a class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop dash down, and inside here there's a couple sections. So we have a div class name equal to discovery search drop down, and then this is going to say search for. So this is a search for section, and we also need the current content. So content is a string. So if whenever we type in there, we're also gonna have the content. So bring that. So basically, if we have content, and maybe it should be a p tag, I'm not sure. So content question mark. If we have content, what would p tag? The class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop down dash content. And I guess this can be the same. It doesn't really matter. So inside here, we'll pass the we'll pass search for, and then it has the content inside. And then otherwise, let's just clean this up a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. So otherwise, what we're gonna have is another p tag with basically the same thing. And this will be p class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop down dash content. And then this one, and we're gonna have to probably do a little bit of work because it remembers the content and stuff. I guess this one's slightly different because this one doesn't have This one is slightly different because it doesn't have a hover effect. So we're going to figure out how to deal with that. So maybe when there's content, we'll say content, and then there should be drop down. What should this be called? Content. This will be drop down. I'm terrible at naming things. Empty, maybe. And this one would be try searching for people, lists, or keywords. Okay, and then that's what that's going to look like. And then I guess the rest of this is also going to depend on whether or not we have any content whatsoever. So now we need basically another. So maybe what we do is this. Although this is the top section, right? So yeah, I guess we'll do this, and then we'll just have a big thing again. Content, and then maybe we say and then we have a div, the class name equal to discovery dash search drop down results. And this one's being difficult, so you love to see it. But this will be the results of what we got. And div, let's close this div off. Right, and then in here, we'll have like a map basically. So we'll say, let's do this. Whoops, we don't have the users yet. We need to do this, but we'll basically map through the results. And then underneath that, we're going to have a go-to section. And this is also scuffed. Well, that one's not as scuffed, but this one would be a div class name equal to, we might want a div here as well. We'll see, we might make another div. But anyway, div class name, and this will be discovery dash search dash drop dash down dash go to. And then inside the go to, we'll basically have a p tag, p class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop down go to text. And then inside the go to text, it'll say go to at, and we'll have our $ curly brace and our content. So say, hey, go to at this username. So there's all that. Now I'm not that concerned about getting this like perfectly set up. More or less, I just want to get the drop down so that it actually pops up and we can go back, and I want to start dealing with the data. So now inside of discovery search bar, and this, I really don't like the idea of having it here. And then discovery. So I'm thinking, because we can make I'm fairly certain we can make a store or a slice specifically for like not a grant or not the entire application. I'd really like to make a slice for discovery itself, because really I don't want it here. I'd rather it be here. So discovery, I don't know if I export this, I should have. Discovery search dropdown. So the thing is, I'd rather it be here. Users will be an empty array, and content will equal to this for now. Because it doesn't, I mean, maybe it makes sense to have it go with the search bar, but at the same time, it doesn't feel right to go on the search bar. I don't know, maybe I'm just going crazy here, and maybe it's fine, but to me, it feels like it shouldn't go there. So let me look at Redux, React Redux toolkit, create a slice for specific part of application. I know there's a way to do it. I just need to look into how to do it. Let's see here. So let's see. So there's a store, obviously. So we might be able to make a search store. Because it's basically whatever you wrap the store or the provider around, that's basically who gets access to it, right? So if you only give access, if you only wrap it in like, I'm sorry, I'm reading information. If you only wrap it like over Discover, then theoretically only Discover is going to have access to that. So like in our store, we have configure store, yada yada yada, we have all of this, right? If we go into our, it's either index, so yeah, so index, we have a provider where the store is equal to this. So this means that the state or whatever, the state gets shared everywhere. Versus what I'm kind of thinking is we try to keep it somewhat compacted and only provide this discover information specifically to here. But at the same time, theoretically, we're gonna have a search page. So right now we have a home page, we have a landing page. Eventually, we're gonna have a search page or discovery page, which will also need this information. And technically this is on the home page versus it'll be a new page. So I guess I might have talked myself into allowing this to be everywhere. So I guess what we could do kind of takes away the purpose of setting this up. But let's do this, I guess. Let's go ahead and go into our slices. Let's make a new file. We'll go ahead and call this discovery slice. And this will be .ts. We could have also done like a context to wrap around this, I guess. But again, I think we'd be, well, actually, a context might not be a bad idea for discovery. I don't do much with contexts, but a context might be better with this, because context we could also wrap around that other page, and I think it'll work because you just have to wrap the provider where you want it. So let's go ahead and make a new folder and we'll call this context. And I haven't done much React context, so React context with TypeScript. So I'm gonna have to be learning on the fly as I do this. But basically, let's see here. So I always use the same thing. So we might also want like a, well, I guess we can put it inside of context. Let's make a new file. We'll call this discovery context models or something. I guess we can just call it models because it's inside the context. So we'll just call it models. Shouldn't have any naming clashes. This will be TS. So this will be where we store our types and stuff. And then we'll make a new file and we'll call this discovery context discovery context.tsx, I believe. So I think we create a provider in here, and we'll have to figure out what we want to do for the data and whatnot. We're going to be able to search for multiple things, so we will probably want some other things. But let's go ahead and first, we already have a user, so just export, and I like to use types, so export type discovery context, and first we'll have content, which is a string. So what are we searching for? We'll call this search content, so search and content, and then we'll also go ahead and have users, and we'll say search results users, or search result users or something. That way we know what it is. This will be a user array, so grab user from our global interfaces. We also want to define our reducers in here, or basically what are called reducers or functions. So we're gonna have a search, and maybe we do search for users, and this will take in a value. So this will be the search content of type string, and this will just return a void, because what it's going to do is it's going to set our thing there. We're going to need a update. Well, actually, yeah, we'll want update content, and again this will take in a e of react dot, let's say, change event. And I don't think we have to put it on anything. If we want to, we could say HTML input element just to be safe. And again, this is just going to return void. And then I'm trying to think of what else we might need. We want to be able to clear, although update content, we can just clear it basically. And what else do we want to do? I think that might be it for now. So we can search, we can clear it, and we can keep track of the users and search results. And then we can continue to kind of work on this so we can add more. So whenever we start searching for everything, users, tweets, you know, all of that stuff, we can add it in there. And instead of just search for users, we can now search for everything, combine things, stuff like that. So I put this in the wrong spot, so this should be inside models. So let me move this over to models. So models.ts. So now we need to create the context. So it's import, and we want create context, I believe. So create context from React. Whoops. And then what we want to go ahead and do is say export const, and we're going to go ahead and say discovery context, and this will be equal to create context, and we're going to create the context based off of the discovery context, and it should probably be called type. So let me go ahead and change this to discovery context type just to be safe. So we want discovery context type, or it'll be null, because whenever it starts out, it's going to start out as null, and we'll go ahead and say null. So we'll set that up. I think there's also another way to set up, but the issue is with the reducer functions. So we need a way to basically just clear everything out. And now we're going to say const discovery provider, and this will be a react.function component. And I really hope this will work the way that I want it to. I'm pretty sure it will, but we'll have children, which is a react.react node, which is basically going to make a higher order component and allow us to display React components inside this. And that's how we basically can wrap the provider around whatever we need. And then we're going to do this. And now it's going to complain. So we're going to return. And there's going to be a couple things we do need to set up, but we're going to go ahead and return, and we'll do this just to make it clean. And this is going to say discovery maybe discovery context dot provider. And I'm reading off tutorial right now, so I will need to set a couple things up here. But if I keep moving to the sides, because I don't use context that much, so I'm not as clear as context, and then it's going to say children. So basically, we're going to set up all of our different states and things. So everything that is on this discovery type is going to exist inside this component, and it's going to get passed into the value. So for example, we have users and we have content. So for example, so we'll have const and we'll have content. I think we called it search content, and we also need to set search content equal to use state. So we will need to bring in use state string, and then this will be empty. And we can double check. So search content, and we also need search result users. So now we can also say const, whoops, not even close, const search result users set search search result users equal to use state, and this is a user array which will default to an empty array. And then we also need our functions here. So our search for users, so let's copy this. So we say const search for users is equal to this, and this will actually be async because we'll do a call to Axios. So we'll need to bring in Axios, but here we will search for users, and this will probably like wait a second or two to stop search or stop typing. So we did something for the GIFs. So I'll go back and look at the GIFs. And then finally, we need a const update search result or something like that. So update content. And maybe we call this update search content. So let's grab update search content and save this. So now finally, update search content. This is equal to this. And this will take in an event, which is a React dot change event on an HTML event or input element. There we go. And this will basically be able to allow us to set search content to e.target.value. Right. So now we can pass all of these. So now value needs search content. It needs search result users. Not search. Well, it does need search for users. We want search result users. It needs the search for users. I can't type. Oh my goodness. And it needs the update search content. And let me see what I did wrong. So JSX expression may not use comma separator. So search update search content is equal to this. Returns that. So it doesn't like update search content. Did you mean to write an array? Oh, you know what? We need, this has to be like double like this. Cool. So now we're basically passing along the data or everything that we need. So of course, search result users is not being populated right now, but the idea will be, we'll go ahead and call search reset or set search result users, whatever. We'll call set search, and we might also want to pass in a string here because we don't want to rely on the content to do this. We could, no, I don't like that idea. I was going to say we could use a use effect there, but I don't like that idea. So we will go ahead and update this. This will take in, oh, it takes in a string content. I'm surprised it didn't complain. That's really surprising to me, but we'll go ahead and say search content, and this is string. It's really surprising that it didn't complain because it would have wanted the exact thing, but cool, there's that. Now basically what we should be able to do now is take this provider and wrap it in whatever we want. So let me just make sure we also export, and we'll say default, and this is called discovery provider. So let's go ahead and do that. So now we can actually bring this in. Now the only issue is this is a little bit funky. So if we wrap it in discover, we're not going to be able, if we wrap it in discover, we're not going to be able to access the data here, so we don't get rid of the props. But I think that'll be okay. So what we'll go ahead and do is, let's do this. So we need to bring in the context, I believe. So I'm just looking at the data, or the, yeah, so I'm going to move this because it annoys me whenever the CSS is there. And let's go ahead and first, yeah, let's import, import our discovery, and we want provider. So bring in the discovery. I don't know why discovery provider is not popping up. Oh, it's because I didn't put a Y. So don't see discovery provider though. Let me double check. Discovery content text, export default discovery provider, and discovery content. Okay, I don't know why it's not popping up. Import. Oh, you know what? It's because it's a default. This will be from our dot slash, or dot slash context slash discovery context. Okay. And now all we need to do is wrap this div. So this is going to get a little bit messy, and let's fix this up. And we'll go ahead and say discovery provider. And then we're going to just copy this guy in here. And it should work the exact same way that it was working previously. So let's just fix this up, fix that up, save. And now theoretically, we come back in here, fingers crossed. Everything looks the same. Everything's fine. If we type in here, it acts the same. We can click out of that. Cool. So now the thing is, we have access to this discovery context. So if we go back into a discovery search bar, which I have lost at this point. So where is our discovery search bar? Cool. So now basically we can bring in use context, and let me go ahead and figure out how to use context because it's been a minute. So what we'll go ahead and do is come in here. We're going to go ahead and say const, and this is going to have update search content, and it's going to have search for users, and it's going to have search content. I don't think we need the other things. I don't think we need users for this one. This is going to be equal to use context, and then inside the use context we're going to pass in the discovery context, context as, and we're going to say discovery context type. And I guess it's not search content. Let me double check what this is called. So discovery models, it's called search it is called search content. Oh, you know what? It's because of this. That's fine. So now in here, we're going to call update search content, and it's going to be an empty string. And I don't know why it's mad. Argument type string is not, I guess actually what we're going to go ahead and do is shoot. So I guess we'll call this because whenever we click on it, it's not gonna have any value. Okay, so again, this is why it's nice. We can make a change on the fly. So we will go ahead and say clear search content, and this will just be an empty and void. And then now inside of here, we can also bring in this clear content. So clear search content. And now we can just call clear search content. Now the only thing is that we're not actually exporting it from our discovery context. So we also need to go ahead, say const, and then clear, well, const clear search content. And all we're gonna do is, you guys probably guessed it, set search content to an empty string. And now we need to just go ahead and export this. So now we can go ahead and basically search and update again. So if we come back in here, so now we can also go ahead and update search content, and we want just E, I guess. We could have, here's the question. Do we want to not pass the event? Because we can just pass the string, because we already have e.content. So I guess let's go ahead and do that. So in our models, we're just going to pass in a string. So I'm just going to say content string. I'm going to make our life a little bit easier here. Inside our discovery content, we're just going to go ahead and, instead of say e.this, we're just going to say content string, and we're going to go ahead and set our search content to that. And then we don't need to clear anymore, because we're going to pass an empty string. We don't need clear. So I just basically did all this for no reason. And inside of our models, we do not need clear. And I just made my life way harder in editing, but it's fine, I guess. Cool. So now inside here, we can just go ahead and say e.target.value. And then here, we can go ahead and get rid of this clear content. I like to reuse where I can, and now we'll update search to an empty string. And then what we can do is we'll go ahead and pass in search content. This time the search content is going to come from here, and we will go ahead and call search for users, and we'll go ahead and pass in e.target.value again. Except this time, I think what we want to go ahead and do is we want to look inside of our GIF, wherever we did our GIF stuff, and see how we handled the timeout, and then like wait like a second or two until we're done typing. That way we're not stressing the server as much. But I want to make sure that this is working and we get the content into the other drop down. So let's go ahead and make sure that this is still kind of working as we expect. So if we type in here, we should still be able to see this. This is all working. We clear this, it should release everything. So that's working as expected. Again, context is basically just a less bulky version of Redux. We could have done Redux, but I'm too dumb to figure out how to do it. And this is just kind of easier at this moment. So that's fine. We'll come back and get search for users set up. But basically we'll do like a handle change or something, or maybe we'll do instead of this, we'll do it inside of a use effect. And every time the content changes, we'll wait so many seconds and do like the thing that we did inside GIFs. But anyway, let's go back to our dropdown.tsx. So now we don't need this, because we're going to grab the data from whatever it's called, and we don't need this obviously, and we do not need this obviously. So let's get rid of all of this maybe, and let's go ahead and bring in use context like we did before. So import React, use context, and we also need our context. So import our, it's called discovery, context. We also need to import our discovery context type, and let's go ahead and remove this. So now what we can go ahead and do is, instead of content, we'll say const, and we'll bring in search content and users from our equal to use context, and this is a discovery Whoops. Can't type. Discovery context. I don't know what happened there. As discovery context type. And I guess this is actually called search result users. And we obviously have a little bit to do here. So now we can go ahead and be like search content. So if we have search content, search for search content, go to search content. And if we go back in discovery, we don't need this anymore. And we can save. And now we should have access to that data over there as well, except I scuffed these somehow. I don't know what happened here. But it's also mad at us because we're not looking for search result users, but we'll get there once we start searching. So now if we take a look right now, try search for people. If we type in here, search for and go to. So that's working as expected. Clear this, it goes back to this. So now what we want to go ahead and do is I just want to get this set up and working, or I don't want to say stuff working. I just want to make it so we can see this drop down. So I'm going to go into our CSS dot this. So now the width is going to be 52px, and the height for now will just be fit content. And we also want, let me think about what we want here. We want a drop shadow for sure, or a box shadow. I don't remember where the last place I used a box shadow was. It might have been in the search bar. I highly doubt it. Let's see. No, not in the search bar. Where would have I used this? Home, do I have one? Nope. Discovery. Nope. We might also need to say position relative here to make the sticky work. Hopefully that doesn't scuff everything. It might have scuffed everything. Are you broken? No, and it's still not working. But anyway, where would have I used it? Probably a modal somewhere. So let's go into what we were just working on. Feed post creator stuff. So feed post creator. And probably don't want GIF modal. We want emoji. So where is our emoji? Or is emoji in components? Emojis. Okay, do I have it? A drop shadow in here. Background color. Background color. I have a hard time believing I don't have a drop shadow in here. I'm not gonna find a drop shadow, am I? Okay, what about, where else could a drop shadow be? Let's look in bottomless modal. Maybe it has a drop shadow. There's a background color. Background color. What in the world? Where would there be a... I swore the emoji drop down had a background color, or had a drop shadow, because it needed to be seen better. Right here, I missed it somehow. Okay, so I'll do a box shadow on here. I just paste this in because it's kind of like my bog standard. Now the thing is, well, I guess Z index like 10 or something, or 100. The thing is, we're not going to be able to see whether or not it's working. I'm guessing this probably has a border. It does. So we'll say border, excuse me, 1px solid, and this needs to be like the light gray color. So let me do my biggest mistake setting this up. I mean, I guess we kind of used it, but, and we'll say border radius. It's not very big, maybe like 8px, and maybe just add some padding in there of like 8px. It's not super big padding, and again, this is not final. I just kind of want to set some stuff up here and get it going. So that is nowhere near big enough. I swear this said 50. Oh, it's 350. Let's try 350. The other guy on the top is 52. Cool. So that looks pretty good. And it's sticking to that. I don't know if Z-index is actually working because we don't have anything underneath of it. If Z-index is working, we probably want a background color of white just to be safe, but that's fine. Whoops. So that's cool. Let's go ahead and work on actually searching stuff up, and we can deal with CSS and all that stuff later. I want to get as much logic done as possible. So I'm going to go into our feed post creator. Now I kind of a mess here. Let's go ahead and close out some things. I don't think we need this. We don't need home. We don't need index. We'll keep this open for now. We don't need this open for now. Discovery we'll keep open. We'll keep the search bar open. So let's go into our feed post creator. So let's see, feed. Why can I not find feed? Feed. And then feed post creator, GIF modal. Is it display? Let's just do GIF modal. And maybe there's a use effect. So fetch GIF categories, search term. And then there's update search terms. So I don't think this is doing it. So maybe it's preview. But I wouldn't think it's preview. But we can take a look in preview. Unless it is inside the dispatch. But this is just updating search terms to nothing. This is updating preview, and this is updating preview. So let's go into preview. So preview is just showing this data. Okay, so it's definitely not that. What about display? Load next GIF. Attach GIFs, use effect, which is just hidden. Has autoplay. I swore when we typed into this, well, maybe it does do it automatically. So what would have done? It's not images. It's not tag people. I thought that we did something where it held off. I'm trying to think. It wouldn't be emojis. We did something. I don't remember what it is. If it's not inside GIFs, I'm not sure where it would be. I'm trying to think here. Unless I'm going crazy, I swore we waited. What would it have been then? I'm trying to think here, but I have no clue. It's obviously not Discover, because Discover we just did. The only other thing I can think of is this. But obviously it's not this. Because this use effect just updates the search term. And updates preview. I mean, we can look in the GIF slice, but I don't think this is just calling stuff, getting data. So that's the categories. This is searching by term. That's fetching the next one. And obviously these don't have anything to do. Yeah, these don't have anything to do with waiting. What else is there to search? Let me look. So there's media, GIF. There's nothing else we've done, is there? It had to have been searching for a GIF. Do we have a search? Do we have a GIF search bar? Hold up, here it is. Okay, so basically we have a handle key up, and then so there's no use effect, there's no use effect. So we have an on key up that clears a timeout, sets a timeout, and that calls search for gifts and 1 second basically, and it sets the timer. So every time we lift up a key, it clears the timer and restarts it. And all we did here was we just have a timer with a state, any state, and it does that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and set up this timer and we will deal with that. So, and I guess with that, well, let's just do this first. So inside of here, inside discover search bar, we'll go ahead and say const timer set timer is equal to use state of any, and I forgot what we did already, so this any just has nothing inside of it. So we have a timer. So now whenever we key up, so we need a const start timer is equal to use not use state equal to nothing, I guess, and does this. And now let's just double check, make sure that's what we're doing. So just handles key up, so we clear timeout. So that means we also need a timeout somewhere. Timer, where is this timeout at? Clear timeout timer and set timeout T. So we set the timer to T and then clear the timeout. Okay, so let's come back in here. So we're gonna clear timeout. And we're gonna pass in the timer. We're gonna say let T equal to set timeout. And we need a callback, so this will be I guess this will actually be the search for user. And we could probably pass the content in at that point. So search for user, and then search content. By the time this is done, we've been done typing for a second, it should be updated. So set timeout for 1 second. And cannot find name, search for user, search for users. Now what's the problem? No overload, callback, void, millisecond. We'll deal with that in a second. And then set timer to T. Okay, so what is the issue with this? Is it because it probably doesn't like this? So let's just call it like this, I suppose. I'm guessing this is the issue. So it doesn't like, yeah, so it didn't like that it was calling something with a whatever it wanted to call back, but no thing. So now start timer inside of here, and we probably could have done on, it probably could have been in the handle change, to be completely honest, because every time we type in it, it does something. So actually, let's put it inside handle change. So let's once again copy this, and instead of calling that, we'll do this, and every time it changes, we'll go ahead and clear it out. So, but instead of doing this, let's just get rid of this for a second, and let's console.log we waited 1 second after completed typing, comma, or do this, comma, and then we're gonna have the search content, and we'll see if it's behind or not. but I think this should work. So if we pop open inspect, and things are probably going to be scuffed. So let's go into console, and okay, that's fine, I think. Let me just refresh, make sure that isn't actually an issue. So typing, I typed horrible, we waited 1 second, and it's fine. Well, actually, no, it's missing the G. So yeah, we're gonna have to call. So we're gonna have to call, instead of search content, we'll look at the e.target.value. It's fine. I believe it should be fine. So let's try this. So now we look for Ethan, except I can't type Ethan. Type for Ethan. It gets Ethan after like a second. And that could probably be a little bit slower. So, or not slower, but that could probably be a little bit faster. It could probably be, and I think that eight padding is probably a little bit aggressive, but we could probably make this like half a second, and that's probably aggressive enough. So there's that. Now what we need to do is actually search for users, which should be easy enough. So we just gotta clear this out. We can go ahead and search for users, and then this can be e.target.value. So e.target.value. We'll go ahead and search for users after half a second, and that's fine and dandy. So now inside of our, we need a discovery thing again. So I goofed. Go into discovery context. So let's go ahead and import Axios. Import Axios from Axios. And then inside here, we'll go ahead and do is we'll say let request equal to await Axios.post. And did we need a JWT for this? I don't remember. Let me check to see if this is authenticated. I don't remember if it is. So let's go into our security configuration, and it looks like it is authenticated. So that means we need a bearer token. So we need to grab the JWT token. So we need our, I think it's called use JWT, import use, or is it local storage? Use local storage. And we want to const, and it's like JWT is equal to use local storage. And I need to look at how to use this again, and it might be JWT get JWT and set JWT or something like that. Let me double check how we use local storage. Go under app. I think we use it in our app. Okay, we must use it in landing. Let's check landing. Landing, it's const JWT. Here we go. Let's grab this, and I forgot to use it. So theoretically, we should have the JWT there. And now I don't know why it keeps doing this on the end of that, but okay. So we have JWT, and now we need Axios.post to HTTP://. Also, we should make sure it's a post. I just thought about. So let's build Twitter. It's actually a get. So it's a get request dot get HTTP://. And there's probably a way to do params really easily. Let me actually look. Axios params. Request config, headers, params. So we could do only the URL is required. Request will be get if method not specified. So we might be able to do like a config. Although I don't know how that'd work with a get method. So we will go and do this. There's probably a better way to do this. There's more than one way to do things. So :8000. slash discovery slash users question mark, and then this will be search term equal to $ curly brace, and then we're going to get our search content, and then we need headers, and or actually we might want to do this actually, and then we have config headers, and inside our headers we have a bear token. Actually, what do we call this? I think it's bear. No, it's authorization. So authorization, and authorization should say bear space $ curly brace, and then this will be JWT, assuming that I have it saved properly. And we can actually take a look and go into our application, go into local storage. We do have a token. It looks like our bear token, so it should be fine. And I wonder if this is where we can do params. Params, colon. It does look like you can do that. Search. It might need to be like this. So search term, and then this will be search content. I'm curious to see if that'll work. I'm gonna clear this. Let's see if that works the way that I expect it to. And we'll say let res equal to rec.data. And I guess let's just console.log our data for now. Actually be res. Let's just see what our res looks like. And we could actually probably call this like body is equal to res.data. And we'll console.log it to make sure that works. We'll search for like Rick, because Rick should pop up basically everyone other than bird person. But yeah, so now we should, if we go back into a discover search bar, we should search for people after our timer times out, after we haven't typed for 500 milliseconds. So if we go ahead and go back to our console, fingers crossed this works. Let's refresh. So if I say like Rick for R, we get 4 people. If we say Rick, now we get 3 people. So I don't know why we got unknown coder for Rick. Or actually it might have been R because there's coder. Makes sense. So now we get Rick, we get 3 people. If we say, so I don't know if it does by first and last name, but we could try to like Smith. So Smith, we got 1 because Morty Smith. We could probably search by first and last name, but you kind of see where it's going. If we go to @Smith, it's not going to work. So now if we go ahead and do our Morty Smith, it should only pop up 1. Again, because there's only 1 Morty Smith. It does say Rick is my grandpa, so on and so forth. And now if we click on that, we would basically navigate to his profile. So that's working as expected. So that is good. So now basically what we can do is we can make those little tab things and start filling them out. I need to take a small restroom break. So whenever we get back, we'll start kind of filling out the rest of the data inside of our dropdown, wherever our dropdown actually went. So dropdown, basically we need to map through them, and then we'll see if we get to the point of actually doing like the CSS, but I'll be right back. Alrighty, so for this specific case here, we only want the top 8. So what we might do is this. We want, well, let's see if this works like the way that I'm thinking it will. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a use effect in this, and then inside the use effect, we're going to watch for a change inside of this users array. So search, I forgot what I called this, search result users. Let's make sure we actually put it in this. So I want to watch for this to change. I'm thinking that since we are getting a whole new array and adding to it, it should work because we're not just like appending here and there. We're going to be rewriting the entire array. So I'm hoping that we can at least console.log and see that the search will say user list change, because we're not updating it, we're not adding more, we should be rewriting it every single time. Which reminds me, we don't actually do anything with this data. So we're gonna go ahead and say set our search result users to this body. And every time we search for users, it should reset it. And fingers crossed, it should see that it changed. So inside of our drop down, it should say user list changed. And we can even do comma and grab the search result users, just to make sure that even if it's still popping up the same users, it should work. So let's just double check this really quick. So let's refresh. Of course, it's going to say the user list changed. Also, we need to hide this if it's not active, but we can deal with that. So now if we say R, user list changed, user is changed, Rick, do this. Okay, so it's saying user list changed every time. That's good. So basically what we want to do is we want to see, I guess we'll see if the length is greater than 0. If the length is greater than 0, then we will append all 8. Otherwise, we'll append what there is there. So it's going to be a little bit funky, just the way that this one's going to work specifically. But let's go ahead and add a use state here. And we're going to go ahead and say const users, and set users is equal to use state of a user array. And you know what? Although I'm concerned that it's gonna break, we don't have 8, but let me try something really quick. JavaScript get the first in elements of an array. Theoretically, I think we could do something inline. The only thing I'm scared about is if we don't have 8, it's gonna break. So let's see. So we can do slice, start, and end. So we'll see. Let's see if this works. So let's go ahead and make a div here. So div. Let's get rid of this. Let's make a div here. Div class name equal to, and this will be discovery dash search drop down results list, and this will be where all of our results go. And we'll also want a result object probably, but for now we'll go ahead and do this, and we're gonna go ahead and say search result users dot, we want to use slice. How's it going? You know, just working. Hopefully everything's going well. So now we want the start, and then we want 8, I guess. And then we'll dot map, because this should return an array, and then we'll map for each user. And then here we want, let's just do a div for now. Div, and we need to return said div. And for now, I just want to see if this is going to be feasible or not, or if it's going to break if we don't have 8, because obviously we do not have 8. So Twitter shows so let me just look up someone I know is famous. It shows their nickname. So we'll go ahead and say user.nickname for the time being. It also shows some other things, so we are going to set that stuff up. But I just want to see if we don't have all 8, if we only have like 3, 4, whatever, it's not going to self-destruct because there's not enough indexes. So let's just see if it self-destructs. So let's refresh. And if we type Rick, yeah, it's fine. So it didn't break. That looks good. And cool. So we see Rick, we see Summer, and we see Morty. So that works as expected. Yeah, I've just been working. I got a new job recently. Well, not recently. So yeah, just trying to get this, I don't want to say get this done as quickly as possible, but basically grinding this out because I have some other projects I want to work on. But yeah, hopefully everything's doing well for you as well. So now if we clear this out, that's good. And we need to, well, that makes it unfocused, so we might want to keep it focused. And we need to figure out a couple other things, but we'll keep working on this. So now we need kind of like a result that has some information in it. So let's go into our discovery components, make a new folder, call this discovery, search drop down result. It's a mouthful, but it is what it is. Discovery search drop down result.tsx, a new file, discovery search drop down result.css. Cool. And let's go ahead and import React. This is just going to be very simple component import React from React. And then we might want an interface, but it's just export const, and we'll go ahead and discovery search drop down results. I'm not going to pass the entire user, I just want to pass the information we need. React.fc equal to this, and then let's just return a div class name equal to discovery search drop down result, and close the div. What did I break? Div return class name equal to this. Seems interesting, been good. I appreciate that. You know, it's a lot of experimenting and just trying to get things to work. Whoops. Let's fix this. And at the start, I was doing this all basically behind the scenes, all the design, just recording it. But then I was basically designing it once and then re-recording it. I'm like, you know what? Might as well just record it all in one shot, go back through and edit it up. So episodes are going to start getting a lot longer. So it's basically going to be live streams condensed into a little bit shorter versions of the live streams. But I think it's going to go a little bit faster. Editing is going to take time. It is what it is. But yeah, like I said, not that I'm trying to rush through this or anything, but this has drug on a lot longer and it got a lot more complicated than I wanted to do. So I want to work on some other things soon. I do have some more tutorials and stuff coming out hopefully soon. So yeah, everything should be good though. So now what we need is, let me go ahead and look up someone again. So we have a profile picture. So we're going to go ahead and basically have an image, I guess, or img, and this will be class name equal to discovery And honestly, this should be like a user result, but it is what it is. Drop down result PFP, and source will equal to something we pass in. And then we'll have, how do we want to do this? So we'll also have a div, div class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop dash down dash, and then this will be, so this is going to be I guess the name section. And inside the name section we'll have a couple of things. Yeah, for real. So I have like 3 projects or 2 projects going on, and so working on the projects, editing this, recording this, at least I've kind of cut out one step where I design this and then record it, so that's really nice. But yeah, it can be super draining, but it is what it is, you know. But yeah, I want to also pump out as many tutorials as possible, because that is also, you know, highly, I don't want to say highly productive, but tutorials do really well as well, so supplement this. So this section is going to have like the nickname, so div class name equal to, and honestly the nickname also has like a span and stuff, so we might need to do a couple other things, but this will be discovery dash search drop down nickname section. Like I said, things get really confusing. And then here we'll have a p tag with a class. So whenever I first started working on this, it was a while back, I didn't really know any CSS frameworks. And I don't know, to me CSS frameworks such as like Tailwind are just classes with extra steps, or inline basically with extra steps. So I like having total control. I have a plan to do like a tutorial on it and do some stuff with it. Same reason why I used React and not Next.js. I just wanted the more, I don't want to say controlled experience, but I wanted to do everything from scratch more or less. So I have plans on doing things not from quote unquote scratch, but that was the whole idea with this, is to start from literally absolutely nothing and build Twitter from the ground up. And then, you know, there's going to be times and places where I do go ahead and use things like Next.js and Tailwind and all that stuff. So, you know, that is something that you're interested in. I know other people are interested in. Just know that there is stuff coming down the pipeline for that. But I just wanted to keep this as like vanilla JS and vanilla CSS. I'm also not using any libraries outside of like Material UI, Axios, all of that stuff. So like I could have done a lot of the stuff with the library way easier, but I wanted the challenge. So class name will equal to discovery search drop down nickname, right? And then here we'll have the nickname, and then we will have we could probably do an image, or we can do a span. We'll maybe do a span. So this one will have to know whether or not the user is verified. So verified question mark. Again, this will be something that we bring in. So if this is the case, we'll have a span, and this might actually be a PNG. It is. So here, instead of a span, let's go into our SVGs, make a new file, and we'll call this verified SVG. Although, do we already have a verified SVG? We do, but what color is it? I guess it doesn't matter because we can color fill whatever color we want, right? I just don't have it set up in here. So we should be able to, and I forget where to put this in. Let me see. Yeah, fill, color, take the props, and let's update our verified SVG. And I think it was inside path. So fill color is either black or this. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and bring in our verified SVG, and the size might be an issue because I don't know what the size looks like. Oh yeah, we just passed the size. Okay, cool. So if it's verified, and again, this will be something we pass in, we'll say verified SVG, and we'll have color equal to, we'll have width equal to, and height equal to. And let's go ahead and close this off. Let's go ahead and import this. So color will be Twitter blue. So this will be interesting. Let's grab Twitter blue from, we don't have it in here. We have it somewhere. Not there. We have it somewhere. We'll find it. Twitter blue. Copy that. Width, I have no idea. Maybe like 12px. That's probably way too big. And height, 12px. Or it might just be 12. Yeah, 12. Again, I don't know how big this is supposed to be. And this is mad because we're actually going to do verified and it's just going to be mad because of verified. Put your own wrappers depending on the project. Exactly. That's exactly the reason behind it. This is 100% a learning process and just see how far I can push myself. There's some stuff that I have to do that I've been kind of experimenting with that is like completely like I would have had no idea how to do it. Like for example, I've experimented, but we don't have it yet, and I'm kind of been pushing it down the road. But basically, for the image editor, it needs to basically be able to crop the image and everything. And there is like ReactJS or something like that you can just crop the images and download them. But I'm like, what's the fun in that? So I've been designing, or I did design like a canvas-based cropper that downloads a cropped image. It was a massive pain, and I still need a little bit of work on it just because of the way Twitter works. But it was way more satisfying to do it that way. And the reason why I've been pushing it down the road, obviously, is also because it's not quite ready yet, but it is what it is. It also looks like there's like a lock here. So if they had to be followed or something. So maybe we also have a locked isn't probably the right word for it. I don't know what that would be called. If I click on this person, what does their profile say? The profile says private. So let's just say protected. Protected. And we're gonna need a protected SVG because there's no way I have a protected one. Do I have a lock? Oh, I do have a lock. It does have fill. Okay, cool. We'll use this. So we'll call lock SVG. Color will just equal to white. So we'll say FFF. And again, width will equal to 12 and height will equal to 12. Again, this is something we'll have to bring in. Scuff that. And I spelled protected wrong. The fact that people still watch me is beyond me. And then the last one will be like organization. I think that's how you spell it. So some people that are on like professional teams and have like, or attached to an organization, they might have like a little image. So this one will probably be an image, I guess. It could also be a span. The class name equal to, although no, let's make it easy on ourselves. Let's make it an image class name equal to, this will be discovery dash search drop down, and this will be organization. Again, this one's gonna be probably more rare, but it is what it is. And then here we'll have src equal to whatever this is, and do that. So now what we're gonna go ahead and need, and that's just that part though, we also need, so that's just the nickname section. We also need so the name section can probably just have the @ here. So p class name equal to discovery dash search dash drop down dash, and then this will be username. And then inside the username we'll have @ and then username. So now we need to bring in this information. So this will be, I don't remember if on the profile picture, we might have a default profile picture instead of assets. We have what's happening. We have Apple PNG, which is an apple. I'm thinking, because I think I messed up. I don't think our Twitter DB, I think it got reset. And let's see, schemas, public, tables, and there should be like a profile pictures, post images, and I don't think this has any data in it. Yeah. Although, let's double check the code really quick. So if we go into, because I think we have images in here. Well, at least we did. Guess we don't have images in here anymore. It might have got JSON ignored, and it might have gotten blown away. Because, so we should have a controller for an image, and we should be able to, so this gets an image, and then this one just uploads an image, I think. Let's see. Nope. Maybe in here. So I think, so yeah, this one sets a profile picture. So I guess we don't have profile pictures. We should have profile pictures, but we don't. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna look into this because this is something I completely forgot about, to be honest. I forgot we even had this. What we're gonna go and do is I'm going to get the default, like a default profile picture. So default profile picture, and go to images, and we're just gonna grab let's grab this one, I guess, or this one. This one says Adobe though, so that one kind of scares me. Whatever. So I'll try to remember to put this into, although, do we have a JPEG or a PNG? What is this one? It's also a WebP. What about you? WebP. Do we just have a plain old? Doesn't look like it. So I guess we're just gonna save this one. We could copy the image, but what we'll do is this. So we're gonna copy this, save image as, and let me find this guy. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Desktop, let's build Twitter. I do need to put in assets. Hopefully I don't forget to add this. People are gonna come up my throat. Assets, and then this will just be default underscore PFP. I know y'all can't see this. Just saving a profile picture. And there she is. So basically we'll say profile, we'll say PFP question mark. If it's empty, if it exists, it'll be PFP. Otherwise, we're going to imports, and I'm going to see if I can remember how to do this properly. Then we just say import dot dot slash all the way out to assets slash and then default PFP. And actually, I think we can say default PFP from here. And then basically we'll be like, okay, we'll either put the profile picture, or if it's empty, we'll do an empty PFP, except it doesn't like it. Image must have an alt prop, either meaningful text. That's not the issue though. The other option is I could copy as copy image address and do this. It's still mad. Well, you know what? I'm dumb. It's going to be mad because it doesn't have PFP. So let's go ahead and set up our interface. And this is going to be discovery, search, drop down results, props. And this is going to need a PFP, which is a string. This is going to need nickname, which is a string. It's going to need if they are verified, which is false. It's going to need protected, which this isn't false. It should be Boolean. My bad. Boolean. It needs protected, which is a Boolean. And verified should probably actually be paid or actual, but I'm not that concerned about. Organization will be a string. Basically be like, okay, here's an image, or here's a link to the organization image. And then we need username. So username is a string. And we can bring these in. So now we can have this guy, and we'll say discovery, drop down result props. And let's break this apart. So PFP will have our verified, we'll have protected, we'll have organization, and I spelled protected wrong or something, and we'll have username. And protected must be spelled wrong, or I spelled protected wrong up here. I don't know. Oh shoot, protect is probably a keyword, huh? So yeah, we will change this to private. Private might be a keyword too. We'll say protected account, or private account. Actually, I like private account. Is it a private account? Yes or no? We'll have to deal with. There's some stuff we have to set up on the back end, like whether or not it's verified, whether or not it is a protected account, so on and so forth. So nickname will be nickname. Except it doesn't like nickname. It's because I forgot nickname. Of course I did. So let's bring in nickname. And then nickname, we'll do the lock, we'll do verified. And then here we'll just pass in organization. If it's empty, it's empty. And we can go ahead and add alt equal to profile. And actually we could say this will be even crazier. Backticks, $, curly brace, username, profile picture. And now what's wrong? Image tag as an image, redundant alt. You don't need to use the words images, photo, or picture. Well, how about you? I don't care. We'll do that. And then here, we'll say alt is organization. And then we have at username. Now this is gonna look horrible, but it is what it is. And now if we go into our search drop down, instead of returning divs, we will return discovery search drop down result discovery. I'm assuming there it is. And this needs a whole host of things that I already forgot. We need username, which will be, actually, let's start at the top. So PFP, for now, we're gonna have empty because none of these people have profile pictures. I mean, we could do user.php, but I think it's null. It might actually be profile picture. Yes, it says the string. I'm assuming it's going to be empty. So if we come into here and go into users, users should have data. So profile picture is null. I'm assuming that's going to end up being an empty string. We'll see, I guess. We need nickname is equal to user.nickname. We need, so for now, we'll say verified equal to false. We'll say private account is equal to false. Whoops. Appreciate the subscription. And we'll say that organization is just an empty string for now. We don't have this on there, so we don't have these on there. And then username, whoops, will be equal to user.username. And I think that's everything. I think it's not going to complain. And we need to add like verified, private, the person's organization image, and a couple other things, but we can add the information later. We come in here, if we try to search for Rick, so we have at Rick Sanchez. So I guess that is working. We have Summer, and Morty is way too small, or Morty is off the screen, and this is off the screen. So we have a lot of CSS to work on and things like that. But I think we got pretty good progress done today. And if we also come in here, clear this out, that's fine. So one last thing before I hit the road, because I do have time. Let's make it so this only pops up when this is active. And so, and actually let's look at Twitter. Yeah, it's only whenever it's active. So we might need to add something to the context because search bar and the results are not. So let's go ahead and say inside our discovery context, we need to go into our discovery context models. So go into discovery context models, and in here we're going to say search active, which is a Boolean. And we might also need to set search active, which is a, actually we'll say update search active, and this will take in a I don't want to, I'm just going to say value because I'm uninspired right now. That'll be void. And here we're going to say const search active and set search active equal to use state of a Boolean, and it's going to start out as false. And we're gonna go ahead and we'll do our, so I forget what this had on it because I got a pbrain, update search active. So we'll set this up. So const update search active is equal to value boolean, and this is going to be dead simple, set search active to that value. And let's fix this, and that's fine. And let's go ahead and export this. So we need search active and set search or update search active. Okay, cool. And inside of our search bar, we want to, whenever we on focus, we're going to do that. We're also going to bring in set search active, or update search active. I don't know if we need search active in here. I more or less want just to be able to do this. So update search active, and then we'll go ahead and say this one would be boolean, or not boolean, oh my goodness, this would be true. So whenever we search, we'll set this to true, and whenever we on blur, so what does focus on input do? I wonder what that's even doing, because do we even call this anywhere? Focus on input. Oh, I guess I do it whenever I click on this. Okay. So on focus should probably do the same thing. And on blur, we also, I'm gonna go ahead and set this up. Const focus is equal to this, and we'll say const handle focus. And is there a way to know whether or not what type of focus event it was? So JS know what type of focus event, because there's basically a blur and there's blur and then there's focus. We could just handle focus and const handle blur, I guess. Handle blur. I don't love that, but it is what it is. So handle focus, we'll go ahead and set active to true. And this is kind of redundant, but whatever, I guess. Search active to true. And then we'll do the opposite for handle blur. It's redundant because we could just use the other thing that we have, the search active instead of active, but honestly I'm too lazy to delete these. So I'm gonna go ahead and say handle focus, and let me fix that function, handle focus, and then didn't fix handle focus, and then we'll also handle blur. And that should set those to active. And then now inside of our discovery, we can go ahead and be like, okay, is the search bar active? We can't though, gosh darn it, because we do not have access to this. So we're going to have to do some voodoo magic. Dang it, I didn't want to do this. So we're gonna have to, this is ugly. Const show I hate this a lot. Use state const show drop down set show drop down equal to use state boolean. This looks horrible, and be false to start. We're gonna wrap this and show drop down, which is the whole reason why. Good luck. I appreciate you stopping by and, you know, just chatting and whatnot. So everything's appreciated. So now we're gonna say show drop down. Maybe. Have a good night, man, or woman, person, y'all, whoever. Show drop down and that, and then I suppose inside the discovery search bar we're gonna say const update see you later. Yeah, so we'll say const update show drop down. I so hate that I have to do this. We're gonna set show drop down to not show drop down. I could pass this in, so actually I'll say value boolean and value. And I want to finish this up really quick. So now we're gonna say toggle drop down equal to update show drop down, and then we're gonna throw this into discovery search bar. So I'm gonna set up a props. So I'm gonna say interface and discovery search drop down props, or actually discovery search bar props is equal to an interface, and we don't want the equals, it's getting late. And we're gonna say toggle drop down, is that what I called it? Yeah, toggle drop down, which is a function that takes in a value boolean and returns void. And now we're just basically going to handle focus. We're going to, well, we're going to bring in this first. So we'll do this. Discovery search bar props. We'll take toggle drop down. So there's not really a point in having active inside the context. So I'm going to remove that actually. So I'm going to get rid of search active and update search active because there's no point in this. Get rid of those. Whoops, I deleted the wrong thing. Update search active, and we can get rid of search active because we're not using it here. Now there's probably gonna be a point where I bring it back. Maybe. But probably not. Drop down's not using it. We can get rid of it here because we're not going to use it. And now here we're going to toggle drop down. Here we're going to toggle drop down, toggle drop down. The rest is fine. That cleans up the context. I didn't want to do the way I had it anyway. And now it's false. Start typing. Voila. So that's what I wanted to get done, and it is exactly 11 o'clock. So it took a little bit more time than I wanted, but searching is working good. We need to get rid of that. And of course, there's some styling and stuff we need to do, but everything looks good. So I want to thank you all once again for stopping by the stream. Everything's appreciated. And also thank you for watching, especially if you made it this far. This has been a very long live stream, so it's probably going to be a pretty long video as well once I get it uploaded. So again, appreciate everyone that watches as far as they do. So anyway, guys, this has been Ethan, our Uncoder. I'll see you guys in the next live stream video. Have a great day. Peace out, everyone.